All right, we are.
Here we go.
We are back. It is
Yes,
2025
Yes,
Coyote
sir.
football time. Listen, we are less than 100 hours from the kickoff of
Buddy.
the 2025 season.
That means we get to see some heads getting knocked around. Come on, a little bit of football, baby.
Yes, sir.
Little
Yes,
bit
sir.
of
Yes, sir.
football.
They
Come
get
on.
to go hit some other people. I'm Blake Grundy.
Hey, I'm Phil Morgan.
We are the co-founders, co-managers, co-whatevers of the Coyote Football Network. We're just a couple of dudes.
Whatever this thing is.
A couple of dudes who like to talk about some football and love to shout out some the kids and the coaching staff that work so hard all season long.
Yeah, man. A lot of this was born out of and birthed out of the desire to just encourage these kids, let them see people from the community who are paying attention to what they're doing. Having that opportunity means a lot to us as pastors. You know, you and I both pastor at a local church here at Penn Oaks Christian Fellowship, and they give us the freedom to do this. And as a result, it's born into something that's so much bigger than I think maybe what we ever expected. But
100%.
so excited to do it.
100%. And part of what allows us to do this is some awesome partners that come alongside with us,
yeah.
right?
We got good ones.
And we have some awesome partners this year. We're excited to talk about it. Phil's got a little coffee mug. We both got some. Little Farmers Bank and Trust Action is our official sponsor of the Coyote Football Stat Show for the 2025 season. Man, listen, when we're looking for partners to come along on the show, we're looking for people that share some of our values as a channel and us individually. I think they fit that bill really well.
They have a strong sense of community. They want to be really active in the community. They want to know that they're more than that they want people to know that they're more than just a business coming to town. Right. They're wanting to build relationships. That was the key for me. You know, in the first few minutes just spending time with those folks, it was clear that relationship was really important. And obviously that's a lot for us. Relationship is important. It's been important for the football program, what we have with them, and to see farmers step up and say, yeah, we echo those values, that means a lot. And so I know I trust them enough
100.
to do our banking with them.
Yeah, we're banking with them.
Yep.
You know, like that's a big deal. That's awesome. And so if you're looking for a bank, you're looking for someone that has some of the resources of a bigger bank, but that keeps a really local, small town feel to it. Farmers is that place.
For sure.
Is that place without a doubt. So we're thankful to you, farmers. We can't wait. Some of them are going to come on the show at some point during the season and talk a little Coyote football.
Go chop it up a little bit.
And that'll be fun. But today we're giving that 2025 season preview.
Let's go. Look, last year this time, man, we were like drowning in all the 5A D2 that we could get, right? It was it was brand new. We were just getting our feet kind of wet. We were transitioning as a team. We lost like almost all of our defensive starters going into last season.
Not almost.
All of them.
All 11.
All 11 defensive starters from the year before were exchanged for underclassmen that were making a step up. And it was a wild time last year.
It was a whirlwind. It was a team that was looking to defend a state title, a coaching staff looking to defend a state title, and also make a name in a brand new division, a brand new district that was labeled the District of Doom. And we saw that.
Yeah.
This district was cutthroat last year.
We had 4 games decided by 11 points or less. I know that's been a stat.
4 games by 14 points total.
14, yeah. Sorry, 11 points. I thought it was 11 points, so
14
points
It was
total.
like 11 points in our regular season and like 14 total by the end of the year, something like that.
A lot of close games.
Yeah.
A lot of close games. And, you know, look, that to have our team step up and compete that way, I mean, look, we saw heart, determination, commitment. Like, we saw sacrifice from these kids last year, and I feel like they're carrying a little bit of that over. Like, they've built off that. Like, I hear Zai speak. I hear Peyton Miller talk. You know, these guys, JoJo for sure.
Ace,
like, Ace did. Like, they had a big event this last weekend.
You got to MC that. That was
pretty
MC.
Cool. That was fun. We had a good time. I mean, look, it was in the indoors, so it was definitely got a taste of what the environment is like during a practice in the indoor. It is hot. Just tell you, it is hot. It was hot, that whole thing, but man, those guys.
It is Texas.
It is Texas. You know, at least there was shade, right?
Yeah.
That's the big part. But man, those guys came out to not only talk about their program, but to show support of a lot of the other programs that happen in the fall. at the high school level, which is really cool. We got to hear a lot about our band. We got to hear a lot about tennis and cross country and volleyball and cheer.
All that, yeah.
All that stuff there was a lot going on. It was a lot of fun. But in the midst of all that, these guys started talking some football, and guys like Ace and Zai and Peyton and JoJo, Cash Williams. That was another name that I think he said money. You could just see the maturity in them.
Yeah.
Right. And so having them speak the things they did, having that kind of go out into the ears of the public that was gathered there, which, by the way, thank you everybody for coming out for that. It was inspiring. It's getting me fired up, man. I'm like, let's go.
Yeah,
I want to see some stuff, man.
We were ready for it, man. I was in the Dairyland. I was up in Wisconsin, so I had to miss out. But like I know you held it down, and Pete Kane stepped in and helped out and did a good job. So shout out the voice of the Coyotes.
Yes,
Pete Kane helped us get another
lesser known as the mayor of Anna.
Yeah, I mean, a man with many hats.
That little thing.
It happens. But hey, listen, it's here.
Season's here.
We're now under 99 hours away, by the way.
Hey, we didn't talk
we've
for an
crossed
hour
over
right
for
now.
No. We just crossed the threshold. A 7:30 kickoff on Friday night is when we'll get started. And I think the best way to start talking about this season, let's start with our own dudes.
Yeah, dude.
Let's talk about who we're bringing back and who's caught your eye this offseason. Maybe a couple of new guys that are joining the team or stepping up. So I'll let you kick it off. Why don't you pick one or two guys to kind of start talking about?
Man, that's so hard. Because there's so many guys to talk about. I obviously,
Sure.
I think when you start, you look at a returner like Zai at quarterback, a 3-year starter coming into his final year, senior season. He's going to want to make the most of it. He's a competitor. He is hungry for victory, and he'll do absolutely whatever it takes for victory.
He's got almost 10,000 all-purpose yards. We are a stat show after all.
8,082.
And is that just through the air?
That's combined
that's
between
combined.
the two. Yeah.
There you go.
So
that's a lot.
He's got a lot of yards. He's got the drive and determination. It comes down to that grind, that out of season grind. And look, Zai's that kind of guy that he expects it of himself and he expects it of his teammates, and you just see that out of him. I think if Zai comes ready to bear, like just ready to play, ready to do what he does, which I think he will. I think that's the start to a great season.
Yeah,
I mean. Look, your quarterback has to be ready to play.
100%.
Especially in a Seth Parr offense.
100%. They've got to be able to make the reads. They've got to be able to. He's got to know when to pull the ball down and what windows to and not to throw the ball into, and when to check and not check the plays at the line and all that stuff. Right.
Yep.
Third year in the offense, he kind of started to show that he's got a mastery and a handle on that. So I'll go to the other side of the ball. I'm gonna throw out a name. We're gonna go with a little JoJo Smith. JoJo the Mojo Smith.
JoJo the Mojo.
Little red lightning action over there. The dude was just casually dropped 90-something tackles last year.
Led the team
in the first year starting at safety, and he's only back for more. He is. I'll tell you, we were at a situational scrimmage week and a half ago. Dude looked mean. He was flying around. He had command of that defense from the backside of it. In that secondary action, he was coming down to the line of scrimmage, ready to hit people. He was dropping into coverage, getting his hands on stuff.
He nasty.
He was hitting hard. He's moving. He's one of those dudes we talk about. The defense had to develop, and we broke in 11 new starters last year.
Look, he gonna hit people. He gonna hit the sense out of people.
Yep.
Like he's gonna knock them silly. Like he is ready. He wants. I know it. Like I don't know if you last year we talked to Crowley, and and he'd been sitting out for a while, and he said all I want to do is get in and hit somebody so hard their helmet comes off. I just see JoJo's that same kind of guy where he's just helmets are gonna roll, man. He is
shoulder pads are gonna bust.
It's gonna get nasty.
He's running faster because he's not having to think. He's just doing like he's one of those. We talk about Zai having command of the offense. JoJo's gotten some command of that defense, and
well, there was
dude's different.
We talk about this. You get a new DC last year, right? There's some continuity because of the relationship that was there beforehand, the systems and schemes that they run. But There's continuity, but these kids still have to learn it, and you know they've all been in it now for a while.
Yeah.
And we've got so many great returners coming back. They just have to think less and less, and the less that that's not a fair statement. Let me back up a little bit. They don't have to think less, but
the processing is quicker.
Yeah, they can pick up faster. Thinking less is dangerous. If you're not thinking while you're out there, I think you're going to find yourself in trouble. But and I mean I think that's just true in any situation. But here they've learned it. They see it. They can react quicker because they know what they're looking at. It's more natural now. And I expect, like, this time last year, there were a lot of question marks around the defense.
Yes.
A ton.
It was just one big question mark because we just didn't know. We hadn't seen it yet. So
Coach Severe's great and definitely proven himself. I mean, to go from where he was last year, from when he started to where they ended up the season was, look, kudos. Like, tip of the hat, whatever else we got to do. There's some really great coaching happening on that side of the ball, and it cannot be ignored. But to be where we are now, from where we were last year, if you compare where we are now compared to where we were last year, it just feels so different.
He had to build the battering ram. Now he gets to tinker and say, ooh, what would it look like if I added this little part to it, or I switched this around, and he's added a couple of things there.
Yeah,
there's a couple of guys. One dude, you want to talk about a little bit about Mr. Jaden Parker?
Look, dude,
holy bananas!
He's a big human, man. Like, that's one big human being. That's a freak.
That's a grown
nature.
That's a grown man right there.
And I mean that with all respect. Don't come at me, bro, because I don't want to break.
You're saying we don't want to get hit by him?
No, we're gonna start the season off just the way we ended last season. Please don't hit me.
He
don't want to get hit by him.
His legs are tree trunks, and he moves fast.
Look, if I'm a running back from an opposing team carrying the ball, this is not what I want to see. It's a freight train coming at you.
It's got to be scary being the lineman or a tight end or a fullback pulling to try and set the block on the outside of the line and seeing that, oh, I'm having to run into Jaden Parker.
Some guys are going to be making some business decisions this year.
He's committed to Arizona. He committed early. Man, we're excited for you, Jaden. This is a dude that's going to, like, step up and do some big things.
I think so. Yeah.
And he's not alone. You know, we've got lots of returners. We've got a couple of new guys in there, some other guys on the D-line. You got Caden Banks back, and Cash Williams, Brendan, Austin Crowley, Ryan Sasumi.
In our scrimmage game, Cash looked fantastic.
Yeah.
Got himself a little taste of the end zone.
Yeah.
You know, he caught that. I want to know how long it took you to get your breath back after that run. I'm just saying, you're in pretty good shape.
Yeah.
You ran it for a while. Like, I can't. How many yards was that?
I don't even know. Man.
I can't even. It was 60 yards. I don't know. It was
less yards than Ace blocking the Walnut Grove kid back to Walnut Grove, but still, because that was Miles.
He's still blocking him.
Call back. Go watch our our stat show after the Walnut Grove show.
That's if you know kind of territory.
Like,
right
Zay
there.
Flanagan is showing up at corner and looking more comfortable this year, and
another guy who got an interception.
Izzy's looking comfortable over there in the secondary.
Look, I like the addition of Izzy. Look, he's a multi-sport athlete. Here's the thing I've always said about Izzy that I think separates him from other guys is, dude, he wants to win.
Yeah,
like, he has a hunger, an appetite for winning. Now, there's a lot of guys that want to win, but will you do what it takes to win is what it comes down to. Will you put the effort in, the time, the energy? Will you make the sacrifices? I can't remember which player talked about it at Meet the Coyotes, but one of them said, oh, it's Caden Banks. By the way, how have we not even mentioned the Soul Snatcher yet? Like, that's another dude.
I dropped his name, but it was in a list of things quickly.
Yes,
but yes, he looks scary.
He
always did.
It's always fun to watch him play. But one of them mentioned distractions. You know, are you a disciplined enough football player? You know, if you want victory, if you want state, you've got to be disciplined in and out of season. And I'll say it, like, I believe it. I believe it with every fiber of my being that if you're going to be a state level team, you got to have guys that are committed in and out of season. Disciplined in and out of season. Guys who are willing to pay the price all year long and to put those distractions where they belong, right? To limit them so that they're able to perform at the highest level, so that they can think and execute at the highest level, right? it just takes a lot of work, man.
It
takes
does.
a lot. It takes the kind of work that most of us don't even begin to understand.
Yeah, it really does. And I was thinking about this as I was leaving that situational scrimmage that we were at a Friday or two ago, and it hit me. Every team at this time of the year says that they're working hard. And so that's not the question. Every team's going to say, yeah, we're working hard. We're putting in the work. We're doing this. The question is, are you working with the mindset of a winner and a champion? Are you working with that focus and that level of drive and desire that this is my goal, and I'm not just going to go out there and work hard and say, hey, I worked hard because I'm tired at the end of practice.
Mm-hmm.
I'm tired at the end of this lifting session. I'm tired at the end of this film study mentally. Are you going into it with the mindset of, we're going to work to be a champion? We're going to work like what it takes to be a champion.
Yeah.
And that's what I see from a lot of these guys. We talked about the defense. Let's you start with Zai. Let's bounce a couple other names on the offensive side out of there, and then I think let's go through a season preview of these teams.
Look, we've already talked a little bit about Zai, but so for me, the guy to talk about is Ace Trailer and what's Ace going to be this year.
Sir blocks a lot.
Sir blocks a lot. I'm calling him the surgeon. I really look in terms of route running.
The surgeon general.
The surgeon. Look, he gets in and out of his breaks in a way like the guy's clean. Like he's got power. He can step on the gas and
he's
move.
Nice with it.
Look, there's not a single thing like he won't do for the catch.
Yeah.
He's laying out. And then he's selfless afterwards.
Yep.
Right, and he goes out and if somebody else makes a catch or a play, he's the guy blocking downfield because he knows if he doesn't, it might not result in the play that they want.
Mm-hmm.
But if he does, it could.
He sprung Michael Kennedy on one of those big touchdowns against Walnut Grove. That was where the whole joke that he was nice enough to block the kid back to school the next morning. The next Monday. And by the way, Ace, did you block him back to his new school year this year as well? Like I want to know. This is inquiring minds need to know these things.
At this point, he's blocked him back to kindergarten.
Yeah,
that's all I know. He's time traveled now with him at this point.
Listen.
So Ace is one of those guys for me.
Yeah,
if Ace needs to take that next step.
Michael Kennedy is similar in that way. He's we're gonna see what he can do his senior year. Dude's got top end speed. He can take the top off the defense. He's got wheels for days. White Lightning.
Nicknamed by the guys over at Dub, I think White Light. I think that's who gave it to him, didn't it? Wasn't it that crew?
Yeah, I think it was.
Good guys.
Mr. TOTR Track, I think gave him that one. Yeah.
Oh, was it?
Yeah. Got to shout him out, man. He gives us some love. He goes to bat. He goes to bat with somebody on Twitter for us. That Still has my screenshot. No, I love it. Professor Diggs. We kind of have some back and forth. To me, it's all fun. It's all love.
It is
anybody that's willing to put picks out there and like let people criticize it and like. Dude, that's fun to me. So like we'll go back and forth, and you
say what you want about the guy overall, what his picks are, what they aren't, or whatever. But
his lack of love for picking the Coyotes,
right? But I mean, look,
he puts himself out there.
He does, and I've got a lot of respect for that. In the end, to do that kind of stuff, to put picks out, to put numbers out.
Yeah.
I mean, I put numbers out, and then we just do nothing but you get in trouble for it. I'll try not to get you in as much trouble this year.
Score 84. If you're already offended, you know who you are. Just turn it off. I'm good at what I do, and we have fun.
I think we need to create. A line of T-shirts, and one of them needs to be Score 84.
I'm just gonna get me a Randy Moss jersey, and
No, just score. We didn't have Score 84, and all who know will know.
Giveaway for said game.
No, look, would people buy that? Would you all buy T-shirts from us? I don't know.
If we sold it at cost.
I'm just saying.
Just a Score 84 T-shirt at cost.
Score 84, baby.
That'd be fun.
Us, see you versus everyone.
Yeah.
See you versus y'all. See you versus the world. Like, we thought about a couple of those things over the years.
We have fun with it. So Michael Kennedy's one of those guys.
Michael Kennedy stretched the field.
Peyton Miller's moving positions.
There's the great thing about Peyton is there's not going to be a position on the line he doesn't know how to play. As he gets closer,
he's just an animal.
Dude, he is an animal, and he's a great teammate. I've heard Coach Parr talk about, the difference between being me-focused, selfish players. Mm-hmm. He calls it a me-fence, and I'm sure he's picked up on that from others. I don't know who he got it from or quoted from, but to me, it's a Seth Parr quote. Period. Mm-hmm. End of story. And he said, we can't have a me-fence. We got to have a we-fence. And I think he says that probably every year.
It's not an offense or a defense. It's a we-fence.
It's a we-fence. And Peyton Miller embodies that.
Mhm.
Every word that comes out of his mouth is dripping with team. It's always about the higher goal. It's, there's a lot of things this kid could say and talk about
Mhm.
that are very personal and, I don't know, self-promoting. But
I mean, the dude has over 30 offers at this point.
yeah, but none
like,
of it is about that for him.
Yeah, I texted him just like for our sake, because we like to keep track of some of that stuff, and he's like, it took him like 2 days to text me back. Yo, text one of your pastors back, bro. Like, we trying to hit you up for something, man. But it's because it's not about him.
Yeah,
it's about the team. He wants to win. Lashem Nianti's going to slot in at left tackle, and Peyton's going to play some center, and we've got a freshman right tackle coming in that is got a promising future. And
very big body.
we haven't even mentioned Rowan Nylander yet. Little Wes Welker action over there in the slot.
Little Wes Welker. There you go, baby.
I mean, that's the style of player he reminds me of.
100%.
He just owns the slot, goes over the middle, catches the ball, doesn't care if the linebacker's there or not.
And that's the thing. When you get him and a guy like Ace paired together,
mm-hmm.
like, you don't know where you're going to get hit for, and how what
quickly.
the damage, how quickly and what the damage is going to end up being. And so there's some weapons there for Zai,
mm-hmm.
right? Some really good weapons. I think running back is something we haven't talked about yet.
Pharrell?
I mean, look, I think there's a handful of guys that can end up running the ball.
Pharrell, Miles is back there. Like, we got some dudes. Jaden could come get a carry or two potentially. He played some running back last year at his old school, and he's big and beastly. And
I'd love to see that. I would love to see that. As many guys as we can get to touch the ball.
I think Cash has come in and run the ball before. Like,
yep.
It'll have to be committee work to replace what Chumley just did for us. I see you.
Look,
we see you, Superman, and we still see you, brother.
I don't think it has to be. I understand where you're coming from. Chumley
he was that special.
How many? 30-something touchdowns, 33 touchdowns, I think it was on the season last year.
Yeah.
We're going to get in trouble because I said 33 and it's probably 35. But
I could look it up. But we're good.
We'll take the correction. We're humble. We can if we said it wrong, we can take it. But yeah, that's a lot. That's a lot of points on the board, right? That's a lot. So yeah, I get where you're coming from, but I still think that there's one that I wouldn't be surprised to see one or two guys rise to the top, and I actually wouldn't be surprised to see two guys trying to push 1,000 yards.
That'd be awesome.
I mean, look, bold prediction here first.
Two running backs pushing 1,000. Zai pushing 1,000 and 3,500 through the air.
We're scoring 84 every week.
Scoring 84.
I gotta score an 84 every week. What am I doing?
At the very least, in a random week in October, who knows what week that could be where we might score 84.
Who knows?
As the offense. That's not to let alone the. I think I predicted 140 points that week, but it is what it is.
Once again, this is the friendly PSA moment of our show. If you don't like to hear two guys that are homers talk about their home team in a way that might offend your delicate sensibilities, then you can turn us off. You can keep scrolling, right? You can move on. Like, go on with your bad self. Go ahead. Just go on. You don't have to keep watching. It is what it is.
We're gonna have some fun. We're gonna love some Coyotes. We're gonna uplift some boys. I mean, listen, like, we didn't even touch special teams. Dez, he hit like a 45-yarder in practice that we saw, and it was room to spare. And
what was his long last year? 73 on a kickoff.
Oh, yeah. In a kickoff. I think you were saying field goal. I was like,
no, field goal.
I was like, hang on, that's like world record territory.
Yeah, let's go, baby. Come on, Dez. Where's that leg? Let's get that world record.
Yeah, it was like 73 or something like that on a kickoff. Was incredible. And I mean, he's special. He's a junior this year. He's gonna be awesome. We don't have time to mention all of the dudes on the team. We're gonna have that time when we start announcing stickers and stuff like that through the season for their in-game accomplishments. But I think why don't we kind of shift focus a little bit and let's look outward. We're gonna go week by week through our season and talk about the teams we're gonna be facing, their coaches, who they were last year, key returners, things like that. So that as you guys get ready for the season, you're ready to go.
I think that's great, man.
All right, so let's start it. We're gonna start week 1, the Liberty Christian Warriors.
Coach
Jason Witten. Does anybody know that name? Anybody familiar with that? No, their head coach is Jason Witten, and last year they went 12-1. We got
back-to-back state champs.
Do you want to unveil the lower third graphics for them?
I guess we should.
Dude, we've got some sick lower third graphics for the score templates that we're excited about. Yeah. Dude, that looks
Bam.
clean.
There we go.
Oh, that looks so good. That looks so good. But the head coach Jason Witten, they went 12-1 last year. They are back-to-back state champions in TAPS Division I. Their only loss last year was to Texas High out of Texarkana, and they've gone something like 24-1 over the last 2 years.
That's just wild. Like, look, again, this is winners doing what winners do, right? Coaching them up and getting them ready to go out and do what they do. They've got some incredible athletes.
Yeah.
You know, you don't get that kind of accolade. You don't get that kind of accomplishment without having the athletes to back it up. I got distracted with my phone. A former player, CJ.
Oh, is he watching?
Part of the death squad. Part of that death squad, baby.
What's up, CJ?
He's texted me as I'm like, hey man, we're live on YouTube. You better go check us out. But no, those guys have put out. You know, they've got great talent there. Got good coaching. They're not just going to be a non-district. You know, it's not going to be an easy win. They're going to test us. They're going to push us. You know, and so if our guys think they can just show up and skate or cruise, they've got another thing coming. You know.
And this is what I love about Coach Parr's off-season scheduling, is he's willing to schedule the hard games so that we're ready for district play. I mean, listen, this team last year, being Liberty Christian, put up 50.7 points per game.
Wow.
Almost 51 points a game, and they gave up 15.4.
Yeah, that differential's great. I mean, that's great. That's state championship level differential.
That's what happens when you go 24-1. That's why you go 24-1 over 2 years. But we also want to highlight some key returners. So you want to go through a couple of those names, some of those key returners, Phil?
Okay. Well, we got the quarterback is probably the first. We start there a lot. This guy's coming back. He's a Baylor commit, senior Quinn Murphy. Over 3,000 yards. You know, just throwing as a junior.
Yeah.
43 touchdowns. That's crazy. That's
a lot.
That's a lot.
That's a lot of touchdowns.
You know, and it's kind of like exclamation pointed by the very stingy amount of times he throws it away. 3 interceptions.
3.
Right.
3.
That ratio is sick. Like,
flat out, the dude is a stud.
Yeah.
Flat out, he's a really good player. And I love it because that means that our defense is going to get an early test, right? Cash Williams looked at me at that practice and he goes, "What do you think of our new look defense?" And I was like, "It looks mean. Like, it looks really mean." Yep. And they're going to get to be tested by an awesome quarterback, right? Like, we're not going to sit here and just CJ Miller gave us the flex of the biceps in the chat.
Let's go.
We see you, CJ, and yes, we know you can flex those biceps.
Yeah, dude. By the way, that's a whole nother gig.
Yeah,
that kid is getting.
He's getting jacked.
Crazy strong.
Yeah, he is. But Quinn's going to be an awesome test for that. And, like, you know, we're not going to blow smoke where it's not deserved, but, like, there's also some good players that we're going to face this season and some key returners, and he's one of those. Another guy that's coming back for them is linebacker Cade Violi. I believe I'm saying the name correctly. Cade, listen, I also don't want to get hit by you. But listen, like, he's a senior. He is their top returning tackler from last season. He had 70 tackles a season ago, so he'll be returning at linebacker.
We started talking about linebacker, and it's funny that CJ was in the chat.
CJ was like, oh.
Which, by the way, I believe that kid's starting this week against UNT.
Yes.
So playing for Lamar. So they're going to be up in this territory. So if you're looking for something to do,
Saturday.
Yep, Saturday it is. You may want to go look up some tickets and get out there and go see a former Coyote.
A former Coyote who Tyler Chapel Hill has still not scored on.
For real.
I got you, CJ. I had
to. That's it. There we go, baby.
So Cade Violi's going to come back as a senior. And this next guy, I'll say, you want me to say his name? It's linebacker Indi Etta.
Good, man. Look at you with the pronunciation.
He transferred. He was at Covenant Christian last year. He had 81 tackles a season ago. He's been getting offers from schools like UT El Paso, Miami of Ohio, Army, among others. And so he's a move-in for them, which kind of starts to show this is also going to be a really good test for our offense because their linebacking core is going to be a strength for them this season. So as you guys go to this game on this Friday night, which is under 99 hours away.
That's right.
I'm going to keep saying it because I'm excited, man. Yeah. I'm excited. Their linebacking core is going to be an awesome test to see how we get to that second level of their defense and put blockers on them and move them around and create holes. Linebacker Indi Etta is going to be another guy to watch out for.
And look, it's no secret that Coach Witten's son is a highly recruited, athletic kid. I mean, that Cooper deserves the accolades. He's worked hard. 45 tackles last season, right?
Yep.
Solo tackles last season, 263 receiving yards as a tight end. He's a 4-star prospect. The guy's got SEC schools, and I mean,
Just
it's
all over him. They all want him.
he's a real deal. Like
Yeah.
he's a real deal guy. So we're gonna have to give some attention to that as well.
Yeah, and that was
And-
as a sophomore last season. He's
Right.
only going to be a junior this year. So, I mean, he's a real deal. Listen, this is going to be hard nosed
This would be good.
opening night game.
Yeah, and look, this is the kind of stuff you want to have. You
Yes.
want to get your team awake. You want to get your team started strong. You want them to play against other winners so that they can refine their own tools.
For sure.
And that iron sharpens iron, and we're going to see a little bit of that, I think, in this game.
Yeah, I'll tell you right now, if you have not gotten tickets for this game yet, get them.
Get them now.
Get your tickets. Get your popcorn. Come to the tailgate beforehand. Come watch the Coyote Walk.
Yep.
Come get the whole Friday Night Lights experience because this is going to be a hyped up game. There will be news crews covering this game. I have the feeling.
Yeah.
All over DFW because it's just littered with D1 talent for both teams.
And this is the chance to tell you all, like, we're serious about getting your tickets now. I really feel like we're going to have a lot of sold-out games. It's going to be very hard to find seats. It's going to get hard to find parking eventually.
Mhm.
So get there early. The tailgate's a great place to spend some time. That tailgate's crazy.
Our church has some booths. We're going to be cooking up some food.
That's right. We're going to be putting some food out there.
Listen, we called one of our guys this afternoon and said, hey, we're looking to elevate a couple of things.
Got to kick it up a notch.
What can you do for food with us? And he's like, I got you. My wife and I got you. So we're excited, man. It's going to be a great time.
A lot of fun.
Man, that's week one.
Week one, and that's week one. We're 31 minutes into the show. I promise not all of them are going to have this kind of attention. We'll speed it up a little bit.
The first 25 minutes were our own team.
Yeah, we did talk about our boys a lot. We did. That's fair, right? Like that's fair enough. We should be able to talk about our boys
100%.
like that. But we'll jump into the next team. Let's take a look here as we move along. The front end of our schedule is wild. And that's an understatement. Right, the front end of this schedule, that we are front loaded in a way like you would not believe. Lovejoy is week 2.
Lovejoy is week
3.
4.
Wait,
bye week 3.
Oh yes, that's what it is.
Bye week 3. But yeah, they're week 4 game 3.
Week 4 game 3. Yeah.
So yeah, our first 4 games are. It's probably a harder first 4 games than we even had last year, and that's no disrespect to Gunner. It was just the size difference between the schools and the talent pool.
Yeah, it's the Arizona Highlands that we get after Liberty Christian.
Yes.
So they're coming in from Arizona. They're going to
Gilbert, Arizona, I believe.
Yep, Gilbert, and they're going to come bring their own brand of football. That AZ brand of football.
Yeah.
Out are they the Hawks? Is that their deal? Yeah.
The
Hawks.
The Hawks. They were head coach Brock Farrell.
Had a decent record last year.
Yeah. It was
7-4.
Honestly, it was a little bit of a down year for them.
Yep.
In since Coach Farrell has been there.
They're former state champs, back-to-back state champs at one point. So, this team is not used to losing. It doesn't sound like so. I'm sure they've been prepared. I'm sure they're ready to come out and test Texas football.
Yeah,
when everybody comes to Texas, they always want to try to knock off the Kings.
Yeah, they want to prove that their state's better at football,
right.
And it happens. Listen, they averaged 27.9 points per game last year. They gave up 18.8, so not as high flying of an offense as what we might see from Liberty Christian as far as last year goes.
Right.
But here's what they're known for around Arizona, and this was publications that we looked up and things that we looked into. So it's not just us like conjecturing. We looked up some of this stuff, and they're known for playing tough defense and for pounding the rock. Last year, they ran the ball 276 times, and they passed it 249 times. So we can expect that they're going to be pretty balanced, but maybe a little bit more run-heavy in general as a football team. And
this is probably a good place to talk about. Like, look, we don't know who moves into a district, who's leaving districts. Families make changes all the time. That's just part of life. Mom, dad get a different job, or something worse happens in the family, and people are moving around, and that's the life we live, right? There's just a lot of that stuff going on. I know what our team looks like. There are going to be some question marks about other teams. We won't know that, but we do know those that are returning, or at least as best as we can tell. So that's, looking at this, you got one of their running backs coming back, over 600 rushing yards, that led the team, and he was a sophomore leading the team last season. So kid almost had a full 1,000-yard season, just shy of it. Once it was all said and done, with another 360 something yards in the air. A talented kid. Yeah. You don't get put on the top 10 running backs in your state, right? By being a slouch.
Right.
The kid's got talent. So Cruz, Cullimore,
yep.
That's what I'm gonna go with, man.
Yep.
I mean, if they get it wrong, fine. Say something on the chat.
They'll probably find it too at some point. Oakland found it last year. It was fun.
It was fun.
It was fun.
I'll tell you what, nobody talked like Oakland talked, though. They talked some trash, bro.
They did.
That was some trash talking.
Honestly, some nasty stuff. Some stuff, that was across the line a little bit. But
look, ain't no lie. I'm a pastor, right? We all know we all know what we do. And I can handle trash talk. Trash talk's fine, but some of the stuff that came out of that wasn't trash talk, man. And we'll leave it at that. So Arizona Highlands so far, from what I can tell, has been pretty classy.
Yeah.
Great coach. I expect they'll come in just as classy as any good competitor, and they'll be bringing along Cruz, Cullimore. So
yep.
We'll
and
see how that
on
goes.
The defensive side of the ball. By the way, we picked 2, 3, 4 kids from each team, so we're not trying to leave anybody out. But I'm also not trying to read the whole roster for every single team
right.
in our preseason preview. That's not necessarily helpful either. So DB Grady Crandall. Listen, he was 4th on the team in total tackles last year with 65. So he's coming back. He kind of plays a hybrid safety, cornerback, linebacker. He kind of moves around there. Then he had 2 interceptions, was tied for 2nd on the team. So he's gonna look to come in and make a statement. There's no hiding it. We had a high flying, high octane, high scoring offense last season. While we did lose some really key pieces from that offense, I fully feel like we've simply reloaded. It's not a hey, we've got to maybe develop a couple. No, we're ready to roll. And so he's gonna look to make a name against a high flying offense and against a easily top 10, top 5, top 3 quarterback in the state. Easily top 1 maybe, it depends on where you're from, but I know you and I would take Zai over anybody
without question.
For us, it's Zai or die. We're all in on it.
Look, we on this show we talk a lot about the metrics of football players, like what size and strength and how unnatural some of these guys are in terms of their physical nature. God gives them that. I've gone on the record. I'll say it here again. I think that's a gift. I didn't get a 6'6" frame.
Right.
I barely have a 5'6" frame. So I don't get the opportunity that some guys do at 6'6". And so, one of the things I tell these guys all the time is take advantage of what God gave you. Use it to its fullest extent. Honor him with these gifts, and get out there and do your best every time, because there are a lot of people in the world who would kill for this stuff. And
right.
And I look, I think that's part of what Zai has to fight. Dallas Morning News came out with an article. I don't know how I feel about it. The short kings of Texas football.
Yeah, talk about Zai and Hayes and one other. I forget who the Hayes from Walnut Grove, but one other quarterback.
Here's what I'll say. No, where you want to call them short kings or whatever you want to do, however you want to talk about these guys. The reality is they're ballers, and you sleep on them, they're going to make you pay. Zai is not one to sleep on. I mean, look, and people will underestimate him, and they'll do it at their own peril. That's all I'm telling you. You don't need to scout much to know that truth. You sleep on Zai, he will make you pay.
Yep.
And it doesn't matter if he has all these, perfect measurables or whatever else. The kid's a winner, and he's gonna hurt you if you sleep on him. That's it.
Yeah.
That's it. Sorry, I'm done.
No, we're good. We tangented back to our. Listen, we love talking about our guys. In case you missed that, so that's going to be our non-district schedule, right?
Yeah.
We're in a 9-team district, means we have 8 district games. It only affords us 2 non-district games, right? And the way our schedule falls, we go heavy. Two very good teams off the gate. We get a bye week in week 3, a get right week, a refocus week, all of those different things. Coaches get to go in the lab, and then district opens right away against the Lovejoy Leopards.
Lovejoy Leopards.
Listen, everybody knows their head coach is Coach Todd Dodge. I mean, just he's got a legendary background. and he's looking to continue to build what Lovejoy did last year. They were 10-4 last season. They lost to Argyle in the regional quarterfinals, and we lost to them twice last season by a total of 7 points. Regular season was by 4, playoffs was by 3. So we played them really close in both of those games. That regular season game was an absolute crazy comeback. Our dudes woke up and said,
Wild.
we're here, we're ready to throw punches. And then the playoffs was just two teams trading blows back and forth the whole time, it felt like.
They walked off with a win, but it was by the skin of their teeth, and
Yes.
especially in that first game. It was by the skin of their teeth. Honestly, it was by the pull of what was it, a hamstring? I don't know what it was, or a calf muscle tightening up, a cramp.
Yeah.
It was the difference of a cramp and not a cramp.
Yeah.
I think you go back and look at that, no cramp, that's
I think
a
we
different.
get there.
Yep.
I think we get there.
I don't think I know,
But-
but it is what it is.
Yeah.
They walk off with a win, but by the skin of their teeth.
Yeah.
And that's at that point in the season, I look back at that and I still say, our defense hadn't even really come together yet.
No, they were still growing. They were still figuring it out.
There was still a lot of things that they were putting together, and I really honestly don't think that they started coming together till the back half of the season, and so they were a different team.
Yeah. So they averaged 48.4 a game last year. They gave up 25.4. They lost a big receiver in Daylon McCutcheon, going to Texas. Dude was a really good player, but they got some key returners coming back, and we start with the quarterback, right?
Yep. You got to look at him, a senior. He's got a commitment to Stephen F. Austin. Tons of yards, 35 touchdowns last season.
Mm-hmm.
Had a little bit more interceptions than the guy from Liberty.
Right.
Had
a little
13,
bit more than Quinn.
Yeah. So he had a tendency to kind of turn the ball over a little bit, but well over 3,000 yards,
all-purpose yards. Yeah.
All-purpose yards, well over 3,000 yards. Great year for him. I think he's going to look to clean some of that stuff up. If I'm a competitor, I don't dare think about throwing another interception with those kind of numbers, but that's got to be something he's worked on. So he's going to come back more dangerous, and we got to be prepared for that.
Yeah. So Jacob Janicek is one of those guys to watch at quarterback, and then a guy that the team has been hyping up, wide receiver. He's a sophomore, Coleman Rowe, I believe. Rowe.
Rowe.
Rowe. I'm going to say Rowe. I'm going to go with Rowe.
Whatever.
Listen, that's going to come back on me too now.
Whatever.
Coleman Rowe, he had 451 receiving yards and 8 touchdowns as a freshman a season ago. And so he's starting to receive offers from schools like Tulane and North Texas and Texas Tech, among others. And, they're hyping him up on social media. This is their next big receiver. So, honestly, I'm excited to see him in person. I can't wait to see what he looks like. And, you can make judgments off of film and you can do some scouting off of that, and that works and that's helpful. But, you also know that some things don't always translate to film. And so, we'll see what he looks like when we get him in week 3 at Lovejoy.
Mm-hmm.
But Coleman Rowe's another guy that they've been touting up and saying this is our next dude, big bodied, 6'3", 6'4", I think he is.
Yep.
So they're touting him up.
Well, they're going to bring back a linebacker, a very
Mm-hmm.
productive linebacker, Aston Whiteside. He's a junior, over 100 tackles last year. This is a kid who's got the ability to be a playmaker on the defense.
Right.
Picked off 2 balls. He's got offers from OSU, Baylor, Michigan. He's a kid that fits the bill. So, this team's going to bring some talent, and they're going to do it every year.
Mm-hmm.
It's easy for them to get it. I'll put it out there, and I'll leave it right there. It's easy for them to get it, so I know that they're going to bring it. So we've got to be prepared every year when we face this team, because they're going to have some guys come to play.
Oh yeah, 100%. Well, then our game number 4, week number 5 opponent.
Here we go.
Is just down the street, not
we
too
go.
far from us.
There they are.
That team,
That one.
Melissa Cardinals.
Yep. Matt Nally, going to do his thing. Going to have his team ready. The Highway 5 rivalry, it's still real. It's still a deal.
They come to our house this time.
They do. They get to come to the Coyote Stadium. That'll be
so
fun.
they get to come to the fun zone.
That's right. We like having fun. I like fun.
They're coming to the fun zone. We may have something planned for that week to make it extra fun.
Maybe. I don't know.
You'll have to come to that game to find out.
Yeah.
But we've got some stuff going on up here in the old noggin. Listen, last year they were 6-4. They missed the playoffs a season ago. We did lose to them. Technically.
I mean, if a forward passes a fumble.
The video didn't lie.
No, it did not.
I think I tweeted that play out.
But you know what?
30 minutes after that game ended, and it was in full agreement.
Last year, and honestly, to me, it's all it does is it's fuel.
Yeah.
Right. It's just fuel. That's all it is.
Mm-hmm.
That's what we've got to. That's what we got to be. Our team has to be who they are.
Sure.
Right now. And they got to execute what's right in front of them.
Mm-hmm.
And I know they'll be ready to do that. I just know it.
Yeah.
And you know that. We've gotten to spend enough time around them. They're going to be ready. They're going to be highly coached and ready. And I know that they're gonna meet a team that's going to be the same.
100%. So they're bringing back a running back by the name of Jeremiah Tabor.
Yep.
They nicknamed him Bear. He's a sophomore. Listen, dude's a big-bodied guy who's not afraid of contact. 785 rushing yards and 6 TDs in his freshman season. I mean, he certainly has his mindset on eclipsing 1,000 yards this year. I think that's fair to say. That's what he's going to look to do. He's received offers from A&M, Baylor, Oklahoma State, Texas Tech. That's kind of the start of his list. And so he's a highly touted player, and he's a physical runner.
I feel like we got somebody from Melissa watching already.
Probably.
Yeah, there we go. We got another thumbs up for that too. So they're already watching.
So I mean, like, listen, he's a good player.
Yeah.
He's gonna run the ball physically, and I can't wait to see how he lines up with our like new and improved and grown up linebacker core.
Oh yeah,
they've gotten a year of experience, a year of weightlifting, like a whole nother year. Like, it's gonna be fun to see.
Everybody comes back bigger, faster, stronger.
So I'm gonna be excited to see that. And it feels like a theme, and I'll let you talk about him. A theme for Melissa's, they always have a good offensive line.
Yeah, Max Wright, senior, coming back, 6'6", big kid, 290 pounds. I mean, he's this guy's Texas is interested, Arizona's interested, Arkansas. You're not 6'6", 290 and not have offers on the offensive line. That's there's so much they're going to do with a kid with those measurables when it comes to college. So if he's got any kind of skill on the line, they're going to be able to maximize that and make the most of it. So, he's going to be something to overcome. They're going to have to be able to move that body if they're going to make a difference, from our defensive standpoint. So
100%.
They're going to have to deal with that senior, Max Wright.
So. And the last name we'll talk about with Melissa's linebacker, DB. He played a little bit of running back last year. He kind of was a Swiss Army knife for them. Peyton Porter, he's going to be a senior this year. He's listed as 6'4" and 200. I'm sure he's put on a little weight since then, but
sure.
6'4", about 200 pounds. Listen, I looked for stats. I probably spent more time than any other person looking for his stats because hey, like, listen, you earned them. Let's talk about it a little bit. It's a stat show.
Yeah.
But I didn't find any stats. But he's received offers from Texas, Oklahoma State, Missouri. So like, he's a baller. He's there. He's on some lists. So it'll be interesting to see how they kind of use him as a weapon on that defense from a DB role, a linebacker role, kind of that hybrid role. So that'll be fun to see. But that's the Melissa Cardinals in Week 5, game number 4.
Week 5, game number 4, and then things kind of shift.
Yes.
Things shift for us. We go into another week, and we get a lot of purple on the field.
A lot of purple.
In that next week when we face Frisco Independence Knights. Their head coach is Nick Stokes. Their record last year was 2-8.
Mm-hmm.
They beat Liberty and Denison to kind of put perspective on their season.
Mm-hmm.
They averaged 18.7 points per game. They gave up 45.3.
Yeah.
Defense struggled last year.
They did.
And I mean, you just can't dress it up. It's you putting up 40, you're giving up 45 plus points per game. Your defense struggled. They graduated their quarterback, right? They've graduated some key guys, a couple others maybe. There's a lot to pick up from.
Yeah. I'll say it, from what we saw, the stats that were available to us, it looked like they graduated everybody that caught a pass last year.
Yes.
And I don't mean that as shade. That's just telling the story of the team we're going to face.
Yeah.
Right? So, like, Coach Stokes is looking to rebuild this team and build this program up. Like, Anna football was there at one point.
Yep.
Right? Like, you got to start from somewhere and build something from somewhere, and that's what he's going to look to do. So I'll talk about the first key returner. How about that?
Of course you will, because the second one's last name is crazy.
Fine, you take the first one.
No, go ahead. No way, dude. It's you.
All right. First one, defensive end Tyler Humphrey. He's going to be a senior this year. He had 50 tackles a season ago, and so he's going to look to kind of man the trenches for them.
Yeah.
Try and be the first line of defense to plug some of those gaps that they had, where people were able to run on them and pass and do some of that stuff. So Tyler Humphrey is going to be a key for that defense to take a step forward and improve that unit. And, so he's going to come out, I'm sure, with his hair on fire.
Yeah. It's so weird talking about returning defensive players when, we introed coming in at, giving up 45 points per game.
Listen, when they graduated their QB, top 3 running backs, and everyone that caught a pass based on the stats I could find, there's not a whole lot of other places for me to go.
Look, okay, so they're bringing back a DB, Dudenbostel.
That's how I was going to say it.
Dudenbostel.
Landon
Dudenbostel, a junior, had 46 tackles last season. So, they're going to have some experience coming back, which is probably great. Coach can kind of latch onto some of that and hopefully that fill in some of the gaps and take a step up and hold some teams to a little bit less scoring. You're going to have to do it. If you're going to win in this district, you can't let people score 45 points and expect to have a good season.
Yeah, there's lots of it, and so we move on from Independence. And the next team that we'll play was kind of the turnaround point of our season last year. I've got the joy down in my heart game.
Got that joy.
We've got Frisco Emerson. The Emerson Mavericks are going to come to our house. They're going to step into the den. And have to wrestle with some Coyotes in the den.
With a new head coach.
New head coach Billy Ellis was promoted from defensive coordinator a season ago. Their former head coach is now the AD for Plano ISD, I believe it was. And so they went 7-4 last year. They lost to Argyle in the first round of the playoffs. And so Coach Billy Ellis will look to get that team continuing. Argyle's really good.
Yep.
They averaged 33.9 points per game, gave up 21.5, and they graduated their quarterback and their top 3 pass catchers last season.
Whew. Man, that's a lot of production.
Yeah, it's a lot of production, and that's why Coach Ellis is going to look to restock, reload, and regrow this program.
But a bright spot is they do get back a senior in a wide receiver, Blake McLean, over 500 yards last year, 5 touchdowns. Those aren't like blow your mind kind of stats, but at least there's some production coming back there.
But it also tells to the talent they lost when your fourth leading receiver had over 500 yards and 5 touchdowns receiving. When that's your number 4 receiver, you had a pretty good receiver room the year before, and so that kind of tells that tale. And the other guy, Jackson, a linebacker, Jackson Kaneda, a senior. Did you like how I just said it with confidence?
You just said it like you owned it right
there. That might be
that.
Totally wrong, but listen, we're going for it, man. Tell me other people that are just shouting out players' names and talking about people like this outside of like Dave Campbell's. Who Dave Campbell's is due their flowers. But Jackson Kaneda, a senior, he was the second leading tackler last year, 77 tackles on the year, and he had 6.5 sacks.
All right, man, that bring up the next team. It'll be fun to watch that game, but we roll from there right into Walnut Grove. We are going to be at Prosper. We're going to be at their home, so we get to do a little traveling.
Really cool stadium.
Yeah, I think it'll be good to go compete there.
They have some money over in Prosper, I think.
No, maybe a little.
I'm probably going to hear about that one too.
Yeah. Well, Tommy Allison, head coach.
Yep.
Last year they were 11-2. Guess who they lost to?
Does it start with an A?
It starts with an A.
Anna?
No.
Well, they did.
But not in the
Argyle.
Not in the playoffs. But they lost to Argyle in the 3rd round last year. But yes, they did. They did lose to Anna. Average 48.2 points per game, and they gave up 29.4. That's the way you want your averages to kind of look.
Yep.
So obviously you want that defensive number, the giving up number, to be a little bit less. But man, they were putting up points, and you might as well talk about the returners because that's why they're putting up the points.
Yeah, by the way, this is the team that a couple of different people are picking first to win the district. Professor Diggs picked them.
Yep.
I think Tep may have picked them from Dave Campbell's picked them first as well. But some of their key returners, QB Hayes Hackney, he's going to be a sophomore this year. He was one of the other names in the article for the Short Kings, I guess it was. And listen, he's got offers from Stephen F. Austin and UTSA. He passed for 3,600 yards, 40 touchdowns, 5 interceptions a season ago as a freshman. Like he's a good young quarterback, and so it's going to be cool to see kind of his growth coming into this year. But it's also going to be cool to see how our defense is going to stand up to that this season. That was one of those games. Melissa Emerson, our defense kind of showed up, and then we came up against this team, and it was like, okay, well, how are they going to handle this offense? And I felt like they were up to the test. Yeah, they still scored, I think it was like 41 or something points against us, but like they had multiple stops in that game against an offense that nobody else was stopping pretty much all season long. So that's going to be fun to see. Then they got a running back coming back.
Yeah, that you talk about making those stops. It comes down to moments. Sometimes a moment can make a difference, and learning how to find a way to get a stop in a key moment it may not look like much at the end of the day in the stats, but it sure did change the course of that game.
Some moments last a lifetime.
Oh my gosh, dude! What are we doing, man? What are we?
And the moment that lasted a lifetime in that game was a giant hit that Caden Banks put on this running back, Cam Newton.
Yeah, so Cam comes back. There's no secret. This guy is a runner, man. 2,000+ yards, 31 touchdowns, Air Force, Army, Georgetown. The guy's a beast. And there's a reason. I think this is probably this tandem, this duo is probably a great reason why places like Dave Campbell's and others have elevated this team to be their favorite.
Sure.
It is what it is. You cannot argue the production. When a team puts up these kind of points, whether it's the quarterback with 40 touchdowns or a running back with 31, dude, that's crazy. That's crazy. So Cam Newton and Hayes Hackney will definitely combine, try to make those Wonder Twin powers activate and see if they can, do something spectacular this year.
Yeah, Hayes top returning target, Hayden Cooley coming back. He's going to be a junior this year. Hit 714 yards and 4 TDs last season, so he'll be his top target. And then one of the returners from their Dark Alley defense that we wanted to highlight. The
Dark Alley defense, linebacker Keller Pettinger. I'm just going to go with that. 91 tackles last season, had 4 sacks. Look, that's a respectable season. That's a really good season. 91 tackles. The guy's involved in plays, man. He's finding himself in the right spot. He's smart. He knows, where the ball's going to be, and he's going to try to position himself to make a play every single time. Walnut Grove is going to be another. It's going to be another one of those teams on our list that we look at and go, yeah, we gotta. We definitely got to be handling
We've
business.
got to be ready to bring it.
Got to be ready.
Right. We've got to be ready to bring it. We were the only ones that beat them in district last year, so they're going to have revenge on their minds.
Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of teams that are going to want to set some stuff straight from last year.
Yeah.
The Coyotes did a thing against a couple of these teams.
Yeah.
And so some of these teams are going to come back and make themselves known. They're going to make themselves felt in the district.
100%. The next name on that list, Denison Yellow Jackets, will be the next week.
There we go.
Head coach is Brent Whitson. They went 2-8 last year. A little bit of a down year for them. They averaged 20.2 points per game. They gave up 31.6, and they graduated their quarterback Ty Rhodes, who's just a really athletic guy. And at the end of the day, we ended up in a dogfight with them up in Denison, and it was, I think, a gritty win for our guys. And some exceptions were had, and they celebrated that they didn't give up 84 rather than
getting the win. Yeah.
But it is what it is, and that's okay. That's okay. I may predict that we may score 98 this year. Who knows? We'll see. Like I'm just gonna have some fun with it.
I hope you do.
I hope you predict.
I hope that's your bold prediction for this year.
Don't worry, coaches. I won't do it while you're on the stage with me, so your name isn't attached to it.
There we go. What we do here is just our opinion.
It's just fun.
We are not affiliated with the program.
They've got a running back, Jalen Butler, who's coming back. He's a senior. I didn't have exact stats. Max preps can be deceiving sometimes, and
it's only as good as the person putting in stats.
But
really
he
was down to.
He was one of those dudes that was really running hard against us last year.
Yeah,
and so I think it's worth highlighting. He was one of those guys that was
moving the ball,
that was moving the chains and really testing our defense, and so it's worth shouting him out.
Got a junior wide receiver, Brandon Douglas. He was their leading receiver last year, so he comes back. More experienced, right? More strength. Right?
Yep.
Had the off season to work. You're going to end up finding, he's going to want to make a name too. These guys don't play to, to just play
to win the game.
Right. They're going to want to make a difference. And so
Brandon not give up 84
Brandon
points.
Douglas is going to be one of those guys who doesn't want to give up 84 points.
Linebacker Grayson McGahee is going to be a senior this year. He led the team in tackles last year with 77, so he's back. Another year of experience under his belt. So I'm sure he'll be looking to notch some triple-digit tackle numbers this season.
Yeah.
So he'll be another guy to watch on that defensive side of the ball when they come to our house this year. But that's going to be the Denison Yellow Jackets, and that kind of brings us to our last two opponents of the regular season.
I'm not gonna try to hype this. Like, this is what it is. These teams had tough records.
They had down years.
Down years. Now, that doesn't mean that they won't get a little better or they won't make some improvements, but the bottom line is these last 2 games are one, you can never sleep. You got to go out and win. You got to win in the way that you're supposed to win. You got to win the Coyote way. Period. You can't, just because Memorial had a 1-9 season last year, you can't go into play them this year and think it's going to be that easy. Now the only team they beat was Frisco Independence.
Right.
So Jeff Jackson's going to want to build. Right. You got to win last year. Let's build on that. Let's get better. From an offensive perspective, nowhere to go but up. 8.5 points per game. And there's just stats that are stats, and they just say what they say.
It's a stat show.
It's a stat show, and this is it. They gave up 45.1. That is the opposite of the differential you want in every way. So there's a lot of room for improvement in this squad, and I look, everybody around the district sees this, and the reality is that they're going to have some guys come back that have some pride and are going to want to do better, be better for that team.
Their quarterback's coming back, a returning quarterback. So you kind of hope that he's one of those dudes for their program that is going to look to take a step forward, more command of the offense, have a little bit better season. About 855 yards passing last season is what we found. Six passing TD. So, I mean, listen, like the 8.5 points per game don't lie, but people only get better the second or third year starting in an offense. And so he'll look to kind of move that offense forward a little bit. And then they are returning 4 of their top 5 tacklers, led by one of them is Douglas McLeod, who's a senior linebacker. And then the other name, Hunter Metcalf.
Senior linebacker. We talked a lot about this team in the offseason for a lot of reasons. You guys probably talked about them and thought about them. As pastors, we talked about how do we talk about this team. And it's just real simple. In times of tragedy, you're reminded of all the frailty of humanity, right? And this team, because of all the things that have surrounded the school and the current events of the days, we made a commitment to not go back and dredge it up, like all the details. But our hearts and prayers are with people who've experienced loss, and that's the humanity behind the game. Right. That's the reality that there are live human beings that are playing this game on the field every single week. And, say what you want, believe what you want. The reality is there are things in life that hurt.
Yes.
And they hurt bigger than football. And our hearts were moved to, like you, to pray for loss, to pray for these tragic moments, and, to pray to God that this kind of stuff never happens again. And that's kind of where our hearts landed as we look ahead to this game, and just kind of wanting to speak our piece that direction.
And there's nothing more we would love to do than circle up with anybody that wants to pray after that game, if that's still something that you guys desire. I know there's pastors that have come alongside this team and the Metcalf family, talking about Austin, and but there's nothing more that we would love to do. We are pastors first. And Coyote Football Network stat show guys second, and so, hey, if the game's over and you want to pray, we would be more than happy to do that.
But I will say, when the whistle blows, it's about football. And, that's it, period, end of story. When the whistle blows, when you're between those lines on the field, right, it's about playing the game. It's about executing and being the team you're supposed to be. And the Coyotes have to go out and they have to execute. And I know they will. Regardless of what is or wasn't, and none of that stuff matters. When the whistle blows, it's football, and those guys better be ready to go.
100%. Because we have a job that we have to get done. This last team, honestly, pretty similar season last year. So it's the Frisco Liberty Redhawks. Their head coach is Chip Gregory. Chip Gregory. Sorry, Coach. Coach Chip Gregory. He was just promoted from their offensive coordinator position. They were 1-9 last year. Their one win was against Frisco Memorial. So it was almost like these schools from Frisco that were still looking to rebuild. They kind of were trading around wins against each other, and that happens. They averaged 9.3 points per game, and they gave up 48.1. They graduated their starting quarterback, starting running back, and their top receiver. And I'm just gonna say it before we get to their key returners. We could find no defensive statistics that were made available to us. So defensive side of the ball, we're not trying to shade you. We didn't have any tackle leaders or any numbers like that were out there that we could find on Max Preps, Dallas Morning News, Dave Campbell's, things like that. Like, we looked, We really did look. So it's nothing about that. But a couple of key returners. I'll let you kind of talk about the first guy.
So running back Daniel Essien, a senior, second on the team last year with just over 300 yards of rushing, a couple touchdowns.
Yeah.
At least there's some experience there to build off of. There's something there to kind of start building around, and I think he'll look to improve and get hit that end zone a little bit more this coming season. So and then
I said they graduated starting QB. I think they rotated a couple of guys until they also landed on Kai Bunting last year, senior. He passed for 733 yards and 4 TDs, and he's another one of those guys looking to come back in his second year as a full-time starter and kind of take control of that offense. And so we're going to end against Frisco Liberty, and our hope is, man, we're rolling in the next week to the playoffs.
Yeah, man.
After that, this is going to be a rush to start the season, and we're excited. Like, listen, we are under 98 hours.
Because this show just went over an hour.
Yes.
Like, we're an hour and 5 minutes and 23 seconds. So
and by the way, that's us having cut some things short. We could talk about Coyote football for a lot longer than this. We could talk about these boys for a lot longer than this, and we will talk about these guys.
Yeah, there's a lot of guys we haven't mentioned yet, but we're gonna have plenty of opportunities to mention these guys. Plenty of chances to talk about our coaches. I think we've got one of the best coaching staffs in the state of Texas, if not the nation.
Mm-hmm.
Of course, headed up by Coach Seth Parr.
Yes.
Guy's a football savant.
Mm-hmm.
When it comes right down to it, there's just nobody I'd rather have on leading our team than Coach Parr. So.
By the way, I think that's a great segue. We have our first coaches show this Wednesday, August 27th.
Tell me where we're going to be doing the coaches show from.
We're going to be a little Texas Roadhouse action, little steak, little rolls with some cinnamon butter on them. No, we're going to be out at Texas Roadhouse. Come on out there starting at 6:30. We're going to hit go live at 7.
Be awesome.
So get there at 6:30. You can get your food ordered, get some beverages. They got sodas. They've got a full bar depending on your age and all that
as
stuff.
a side note,
Go ahead.
Roadhouse during the weeks we have home games.
Yes.
Has made a commitment to stay open till late, like midnight, right? Midnight. So they're going to be open till midnight. So there's another place to go grab dinner after the games. I know so many people talk about, we don't have enough places to eat after a game. Well, Roadhouse is going to be an answer to that, and it may be one of the few that answers that. So I expect we'll have a lot of Coyotes in Roadhouse after these games.
I think they're the only non-fast food place that's staying open late in Anna on Friday nights like that. So we're excited. So you talk about we have one of the best coaching staffs in the state and in the nation, and I'd agree. And so there's no better way than to come and hear from them.
Yeah, man, it's gonna be fun.
We're gonna sit down and make some questions up for them and get to talk to them, and it's gonna be a good time.
We talk
live
football.
At Roadhouse.
It's relational. It's long form, kind of like a lot of what we do here, just really conversational. But these guys love football. They love these kids. And it shows.
Yep.
When you get into those moments, you start to see the depth of their care, right?
Mm-hmm.
And how much this means to them. Not just the game, but what these kids are capable of and helping them get there. It's so much fun to listen and talk about.
And then we roll into Friday with pregame interviews, the game itself, and postgame interviews. Listen, it's going to be a busy season on the Coyote Football Network.
It will.
Make sure you subscribe to our YouTube channel. Make sure you share it with other people.
Let me just say
Go
this.
ahead,
like, the
please.
subscription thing is a big deal. Like, you guys, one of the things that we've been looking at on our channel, it's been a lot of fun, is we have over 17,000 hours of watch content. That's amazing, especially when you look at the fact that we only have just a hair over 300 subscribers. To have that much watch content, first of all, thank you. Thank you to all of you guys that consume our content, that come back for more and more Coyote football. Thank you to the haters and the opposers, those that come up against us and come watch our shows. Yep. Even though I tell you to keep moving on, you still show up and you help add to those numbers.
And
Thank you.
I'm still going to predict that we're going to score 84.
That we're still going to put out ridiculously bold predictions because we bleed purple. We don't have a need to be biased here, or unbiased rather. We don't have to be unbiased. We are blatantly biased. I think we went
strong and it's correct.
Let me just say it this way: we wear purple everywhere, so much so that when we went to go meet with a channel sponsor, he and I farmers. In fact, this great group right here.
Thank you, farmers.
We sent them a mock-up of what their lower thirds might look like in terms of advertisement stuff, and it just so happened that we were wearing the exact same thing in the picture we sent them as we were to lunch that day. That's sad, but it's just who we are. I've got more purple in my closet than I probably should.
We have lots of purple. Listen, so it's gonna be an awesome season.
Yeah.
And so we say that subscribing costs you $0 and
Nothing.
0 cents a year.
Yeah.
All it does is help boost the amount of eyeballs that end up getting on this channel, which ends up boosting the amount of eyeballs that get on these kids and this coaching
and
staff.
Everything
and
they
it's
accomplish.
worth it.
Yeah,
it's all about encouraging and building them up. And so subscribe to our channel, like our videos, share them, encourage your friends and your family members that watch this to watch them, encourage grandma and grandma to subscribe and do all that stuff.
And if you don't want to miss something, like if you want to make sure you're catching everything,
ding,
enable notifications, and then you'll either get, depending on how you set up your preferences, you'll either get an email or a notification over your phone. But if you don't want to miss, that's what you got to do.
Mm-hmm.
And we would love for you to do that. It would mean a lot to us. It would mean a lot to those people who sponsor us. I know farmers would love to see us, get more subscribers, and that would mean that their investment in our channel will just continue to help grow what they're doing.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm excited. 2025 is going to be an exciting year, and Coyote football, as always, it's back, baby. It
and by
never
the way,
disappoints.
If you're one of the few viewers that made it all the way from start to finish in this video, snacks are on Andrew Tobar.
Snacks are on Andrew. So let's go.
You want to take us out how we do every single time?
All right, you guys know how we go. We go Coyotes on 3. 1, 2, 3. Go Coyotes.